Continuing on, Georgia travels Knoxville, got a 38-10 dub. And here's how I just want to, it's not even Orange Cast, man. We're just going to mix in right in the middle of the episode.
Yep.
We're not good. We're not good. Everything that Georgia does exceptionally well, we don't. Georgia gets off blocks well. Georgia pressures well. They can make defenders miss. They tackle in the open field well. There's so many things that they do well. And that's why I'm convinced and totally fine with them being named currently the best team in the country. And as for Tennessee, I'll say what I said on the Instagram and the TikTok. What do you want out of Tim Banks? I don't understand all the hatred and people being all pissed off with Tim Banks and what's he doing? Your time of possession was 40 minutes and 58 seconds to 19 minutes. What do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? He'll dial up stuff. He sent pressure from multiple spots. From everywhere. What do you want him to do? You cannot just go 3 and out and not move the ball and expect your defense coordinator just to bail you out of all these situations. So Tennessee fans, you need to chill the heck out. If you're out on Tim Banks, be pissed at him. Sure. There's been some sus things, but if you're calling for his job at this point, dude, I think you're out of control.
Yeah. I told you this when we were texting per our usual during the game that I was calm going into the game. I'm not hopeful. I'm not saying that. I was calm. Things were happening. Tennessee scored. Georgia's retaking the lead. I wasn't actually bothered until the flag thrown after the interception on Danico Slaughter, because it was a late flag. I don't believe that the flag had the referee had the angle to call that. I think he was assuming, and I think that call doesn't get made for Tennessee a lot. It's definitely not the reason that Georgia won by 28 points. If you're blaming Tennessee fans for making excuses, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I wasn't mad until that point.
Sure.
And as I always do, I made a lot of comments about Banks, but you're totally correct. There's not much more he can do unless it's recruit, because that's what he has to do. The talent gap is like the only reason this is a 28-point game this year, a 14-point game last year, a 30-point game the year before. Mm-hmm. There's a talent gap. It is large. It looks like the Grand Canyon if you haven't seen pictures of it or been there in person. That has to be addressed. That's the reason, and it's part of the reason, and not the entire reason here. It's the reason you faded in Tuscaloosa. It's the reason that you're not overcoming the issues that the roster had in 2022 when you had Hendon Hooker leading your team. It's all the reason for all the things. I'm in a much calmer place. It's so weird. I thought, because we said all along 8-4, and this fashion of finding 8-4 is a disappointment. It is a bit of a step back, but it's the reason you're in that position is the talent and roster issues, the depth issues, offensive line, receivers taking and I'll be a little bit harsher there, taking a step back at certain positions, but you don't have the bodies to replace Brew McCoy, Kamal Hadden, one single offensive tackle, let alone both. You don't have the talent to do those things, and not many teams do when it's that many starters. But that's the reason you're in the position you're in. It just sucks that you gave zero fight in Columbia, Missouri. For all being honest,
that's fair. Told you earlier that anything below 9-3 is a disappointment. But knowing what I know now about who we are, we're clearly an 8-4 team.
We are
in our rightful place behind Mizzou and Florida. I'll say it. And Florida. Graham Mertz is a better Q than Joe Milton.
Yeah,
he is. And I'll take this a step farther. What happened on Saturday is not Joe Milton's fault either. I'm not going to pin this on play calling. Georgia just swarmed everything. They just shed blocks. Well, it's just poor execution. And so you're going to have to fill the talent gap. I think that's what this really boils down to. Georgia would have won this game on the moon. Doesn't matter. So with that said, I really have no other comments on this because it was, we suck.
I will say I do think steps are being taken in the right direction recruiting wise. It's ticking up but there's been so many losses of guys that would be seniors or would be juniors. The 2021 class, for example, Heupel was hired a week before actual signing day, a month and a half after early signing day. These things are rearing their head. And again, you had a special player, a Dobbsian player in Hendon Hooker, and so many other guys that were able to cover up some of those things and speed along those things.
Yeah.
Now here's where I think it boils down to now. You hope that Nico is a form of his rating. You hope he's that. You hope the receivers have a bounce back performance in 2024. You find some offensive line and you beg the ones that you need to come back to do so, and you encourage them to do so with NIL. And you need to infuse some new concepts or plays offensively, because I do think it's too limited at this point, unless you have burners on the outside on either side of the field, and you could, there's a chance that you could have deep threats on either side, but the concepts need to change a little bit. You need to be more willing and open to attack the middle of the football field and able to do that when it's there, because it's been called and never or rarely done. So those are the things you have to take steps to fix.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'll agree with all that. I do want to comment on something else though. Carson Beck, he's really good. He's really, you know what? He might be that type of quarterback who could almost go to any other team and turn them into a playoff team. His ability to identify pressure, his ability to go through his checkdowns, which he didn't really even need to do too much on Saturday. This guy's good. There was one ball where I thought, oh my gosh, how did that not break that dude's hands? Dude, he zipped that thing in there. He's got loads of talent. He's got it between the ears. This guy's going to be playing on Sunday, I imagine, for a really long time.
I told a buddy, a Georgia fan buddy, yesterday or the day before that they've not had that guy since Stafford left, and I think he would give Stafford a run for his money. It's impossible to compare, because even though Georgia was good then, the talent gap to now between Georgia then and now it's crazy tall. They've got weapons everywhere. No one has had a guy like Brock Bowers anytime, in the recent history of the sport. He's fantastic. He is absolutely a pro. There's nothing more for him to gain by returning to Georgia in 2024 unless he just wants his ring fingers to be a little bit heavier. That's the only reason he should look into coming back. He is ready to me. He's awesome. I mean, he is that 3rd and 12 or 11.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That was perfect. 12 out of 10 execution by quarterback and receiver.
Yeah.
I think it was Danico Slaughter in coverage. I'm not sure. It was a perfectly placed ball, tough catch out of bounds. And I mean, he hauled it in, he got the foot down. You can't defend that. There were so many examples of indefensible plays for Tennessee on the defensive end. And that was the greatest example of one.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll end the segment by this. If you're going to offer me Stafford and Marino or Carson Beck and Brock Bowers, I'm going with the latter every single time. And I might even take it a step farther and say Matthew Stafford and Marino or Beck. I think Beck is that good. I think he's
dude. He's awesome, man. And what last thing for me, massive credit for sticking around this long in the program.
For sure. Yeah.
It takes foresight to see that you have the chance to lead a team with this much talent when you're a true junior. Yeah. Is that correct? Redshirt junior?
Believe so, yes.
Whatever he is, he's a veteran by age, and he's a first-year starter, and massive credit to him for sticking around through all that.
Yep. No, for sure. And then Tennessee, take care of business against Vanderbilt. Go get you a good bowl in the Music City. Get you a good opponent, maybe like a North Carolina, something that we talked about. In this season, 9-4, send Joe out well, because if you're going to say that for Carson Beck, you also got to say the same thing for Joe when he had the spot, right? And say what you want to about Joe as a quarterback. He's done his time. I would love to send him out on a high note. And not to see a ton of dudes opt out. Nonetheless, Georgia goes up to Knoxville, takes care of business, 38-10.